When
And then,
you,
oh yeah,
sorry,
sure.
just real quick, when you're kind of handling this many characters all in one scene, and obviously, the witch here is, has to be different from the other character. Like, kind of, did you kind of all work on them at the same time, pretty much, or like, and then kind of like sculpted it and refined it, everything at the same time, or did you kind of uh I mean, I don't know kind of how detailed like the animatic and stuff is, but like with the like, did you get her movements primarily done first, and then kind of um had everything else complement that once you had the witch feeling the
Yeah,
way you wanted her to?
pretty much. So in a complex shot like this, and you guys may have like realized by now with my workflow, the first thing I did was I had a box represent everyone, because not only did I have to like figure out the animation, I had to make sure that the with my actual animation and stuff, like what was in the previs and what was in the boards for the witch looks nothing like this. So I had to readjust the camera a lot. Um, but I made sure that I that I had gotten the framing that I wanted. Like there's this nice cascade here, and then we have our subject here. That way, like when we zoom in and it's just her, and like designing the paths of action and all the movements and stuff, like all this stuff and all that. Um, that came secondary after I figured out the placement of everyone and the time at which they entered the frame. You know what I mean? So like the very early first versions of this was just like a box spinning in place. And then like all of a sudden a box would pop in here, and then another box would pop in here. You know what I mean? I figure out all like the timing and the choreography first, and then I can fill out the details and kind of like just adjust everything else along the way.
Do you film yourself to get the references, or do you just do everything by head?
Sometimes. Very rarely will I. I'm not the kind of person that can get the results that I would like out of video reference. I find that when I do video reference, if I if I go and do video reference with an idea, I'll go after that idea, and then it's very difficult for me to stray or to explore more from that idea when I'm doing it with my body. When I'm ideating with but just by drawing, it's very, very easy, and it's like very stream of conscious for me to come up with additional ideas while I'm just drawing. You know what I mean? That's the way it works for me. For this one, I didn't I didn't necessarily record any video reference. I very rarely do. I knew the movements that I wanted with drawings, and then if I needed to figure out pose A to pose B, how I would get from one to another, I would just get up and try it. And like that was pretty much it. Okay, cool. I
If you
think
don't mind, sorry, I don't know if you mentioned, how long did you have for this kind of shot?
oh, this one was longer than normal. This one I think was 4 weeks
Oh, okay.
for everybody. I think Rebecca dropped out. But anyway. But yeah.
Just out of curiosity though, like this is I suppose like something that I struggle with, and I'm just curious, kind of like with a long shot like that, when you're working on something, I don't know if you had other shots that you were working on alongside, but
Mhm.
when you're looking at something for this long constantly, there comes a point where maybe you become blind to kind of what your vision is and kind of how you like. Is there any like tips and tricks or anything that you have in order to kind of stay focused
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Um, so in the shot that I'm doing or demoing for you guys, you know how I keep a sing-along ball at the bottom left of the corner of my frame? That's always to remind me of my intentions. It'll kind of remind me like what I was intending to do at the very start of it. And like it'll continuously remind me that way. Like I don't lose it. You know what I mean? When we get into the weeds of all the curves and all the keys and all the technical stuff, Like it'll constantly remind me like what I'm trying to shoot for. That and like a bunch of like the a bunch of the planning stuff that I do, like the drawings, like I'll leave them up. I'll just leave them up, and so I'll be forced to look at it whether I'm trying to or not. You know what I mean? I find that like having that really helps. I know a lot of people when they have their blocking and it's their very first like raw idea, but it gets like approved from the director or from whoever. They keep a version of that up always, just looping while they're working. Let's say like for this one, for example, I didn't do this, but let's say this was the shot, for example, and I got approval on blocking. I would just keep the like just like a quick time of it constantly looping while continuously working on it in Maya. That way, like if I look over at it, like I'll see what I was originally intending. Like it'll be really easy for me to go like, oh wait a minute, I'm getting a little bit far from what was originally intended. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
That makes sense.
Cool.
One other quick question, because it's just
Please,
I'm
please.
just curious. But I mean, like with the hand movements she's doing, right? And then you've got the VFX and everything. Did you kind of block out VFX as well, or did the VFX department kind of take what you did and then did what they thought would complement it? Because yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah. I don't know what it's like at other places, but at Cinematics Blizzard, it's a very, very collaborative process. They very much stress creative collaboration amongst departments and between departments. But that takes a lot of responsibility as an artist too, and as someone in production. So like I did like a 2D version of what I thought the effects could be. Like, hey, I don't want to step on your toes. I know like you're the expert and like, you have your vision for this too, but this is what I was thinking when I was doing this. And they were totally cool about it. Like, oh yeah, that's cool, man. I was thinking of something similar. I might do something like this and this and this. I was like, oh man, that's really cool, And it totally worked out. Yeah. And the same can be said like not just going downstream, but going upstream, right? The same can be said for like when I'm working with the camera and stuff. There are some times that I like change the camera a lot, but I'll tap to the camera guys in the layout department, like, what were you thinking? I was thinking of something like this, changing it this way. Are there any like issues with that? Like, oh no, that's pretty cool, Or they would tell me, oh no, actually the director actually was really adamant about this and this and this.